Hello again, guys. Now we are going to have language arts class, and I need you to have your learning destination with you. Right now we are going to see some pictures. For example, this one is a magazine. Why do you read a magazine? Or why people read a magazine? Maybe to find some specific information. Sometimes in magazines we can find tips for doing something. For example, here says, look, reduce, reduce a fever quickly. Maybe here you are going to have, look, some tips to reduce fever quickly. So people read magazines to get information, to inform themselves. Get ready to learn over 100 classes and lessons. Best teacher ever. Okay, so you have a lot of topics in here. So people read magazines to inform, or sometimes there are articles to entertain. What do you have in there? A newspaper, right? So why do you read a newspaper, or why people read newspapers? To keep informed, okay, about the news. Now, here we have an encyclopedia. Okay, so in an encyclopedia, we find information about different topics. By here we have, this is a comic or historieta in Spanish. I know that you have learned about this with Miss Chayito. So in a comic, do you find information? Do you find someone expressing her or his feelings? No, right? So in a comic, you are going to find something to entertain, for you to have fun. So there has to be someone or a person who writes all these things. There is a person or many people who write encyclopedias. For a newspaper, many people write articles for a newspaper, for a magazine, or maybe only one person writes a comic. So the person who writes a book or an article in a newspaper or in a magazine, or the person who writes a comic, that person is called the author. Do you remember when we read the stories of the week in our learning destinations? Each story has an author. So the author of the story, the author of a book, is the person who writes that book. Is the person who writes a selection or a book or an article. So now, guys, I want you to go to this page in your learning destination. Page 122. Page 122. Are you there? Okay, so it says, okay, let's read. The author's purpose is the main reason an author has for writing a selection. So we are going to underline just the most important words or the clue words. So let's underline. Author's purpose is what? The reason or the main reason that an author has for writing. Okay? The author's purpose is reason for writing. Okay? What does it mean? When a person writes, it's because that person has a reason. He wants to do something. When a person says, I'm going to write a book, it's because that person has something in mind, has a purpose, un propósito. So that is called the author's purpose, el propósito del autor. What does an author wants, or what does an author want when he writes a book or a magazine or a newspaper? So let's read. It says that the author may wish to persuade. Listen, the author may wish to persuade, to entertain, to inform, or to express feelings. So, when someone writes, is because that person wants to. The author may wish to persuade, entertain, inform, or express feelings. So, in the reading, when we are reading, we have details that are going to tell you what is the purpose of the author or why that person is writing that. Okay? So I want you to underline that. Do you have it? Okay, so let's continue. Look, with the detail that we read in the reading, we can figure out which one is the author's purpose. So here, looking this picture, she says, why? Why do people write? Why? So we already saw that people write to persuade, to inform, to entertain, or to express feelings. Okay, so let's see. Here we have something for you to remember always. Which one are the reasons for someone to write? When someone is writing something, it's because that person has something in mind. It has a goal, it has a purpose. That person wants you to do something. That person wants to persuade you or to inform you or to entertain you or just to express what that person is feeling. So in here, guys, I want you to see this pie. Look, do you like the pie? Yes. So P stands for persuade. I stands for inform. E stands for entertain or express. So, when someone writes to persuade, is because the author tries to convince the reader to do something or of something. For example, here we have commercial advertisements, political advertisements, billboards, or opinions. Why? Because in a commercial advertisement, someone says, look, the new cell phone, the Samsung A80. It has the best features of the moment. And that person gives characteristics of the product, trying to convince you to do something. So in that way, that person is trying you to buy what? The cell phone, right? Or for example, political advertisements. Vote for Juan Orlando or vote for and that person. So That is writing to persuade, for you to do something. Or for example, if someone writes and says, let's take care of the environment. When we turn on the lights and we do not need the lights, you are not protecting the environment. So in that way, the author is trying to what? To persuade you to protect the environment by turning off the light. Here we have another purpose, inform. The author gives information about a topic. When someone writes to inform, it's because that person wants you to know more about that topic. For example, documentaries, the ones that we find in National Geographic, encyclopedias. In encyclopedias, we are going to find information, so it's for inform. News articles, newspaper, biographies. Okay, all these ones are examples of writings to inform. To entertain, the author writes something that the reader will enjoy. Okay, when a person writes for you to inform, when a person writes for you to entertain, is because you are going to enjoy the reading. For example, fiction, fantasy, fairy tales, like the Little Red Riding Hood or the Three Little Pigs, cartoons, comics, jokes, adventure, romance. So those are writings for entertainment, to entertain the reader. And finally, an author may write to express himself or herself. The author wants to express his or her feelings. For example, in poems, people who write poems is because they want to express what they feel. Essays, songs, diary entries. Okay? Some ladies, some girls like to have diaries and to say, today I feel sad because Zoe didn't want to talk to me. Okay? And something like that. Or letters, blogs, and etc. So remember, a pie, persuade, inform, entertain, or express. What is the reason for someone to write? It can be any of these ones. Persuade, inform, entertain, or express. So now guys, let's practice with this reading. The trading post. This is in page, looking here, 123. Page 123. The trading post. Imagine you are a Navajo living in the Southwest in the 18th. Where would you go to catch up with friends and buy food and clothing? The mall? No. You would go to the trading post. In those days, the Navajo would pack up their wooden blankets and rugs and jewelry and travel several hours to the trading post. They would trade goods and talk with friends. Often these were the only times they saw neighbors. Today, these trading posts act mainly as banks and safes for the special needs for the Navajo. For example, where banks will not accept a sheep to secure a loan, a trading post will. The trading post understands that animals are a vital source of income for a Navajo family. Other goods such as ceremonial skins and baskets are given to the trading post to store. These items are considered live pawn and are kept in the back of the store until the Navajo owner needs them. Tourists can buy these items, but they can view them to learn about Navajo traditions. In this way, trading posts still act as the cultural hubs they were in the past. So, by here, guys, it says, what do you think is the author's purpose? Is the author writing to entertain you, to express his feelings, or to inform about the trading post? To entertain, to express, or to inform? Exactly, to inform. Now, guys, this is something that you have to do. It says, pause here to monitor your comprehension. Reread the paragraph to clarify your understanding and write what is the paragraph about. Looking here, this is about this paragraph. This paragraph. Remember that from here to here you have a paragraph. So here you are going to write in your own words what is this paragraph about. And then, guys, in this part of here says, do you know more about trading posts now than you did before reading? When you read the title, the trading post, did you know what were trading posts or not? Maybe you have an idea, but you were not sure, right? So when you read this, at the end, tell me, did you know more about trading posts? Yes, right? So, did the author achieve his or her purpose? La intención del autor era informarnos. Now, after reading this, did the author achieve the purpose of inform you? Yes, because you know now more about the trading post. Okay? So, now it's your turn. Let's go to this page in your learning destinations. This is page 150. Page 150. Okay? Again, here you have what is the author's purpose. I want you to underline it. Remember that the author purpose, you already had them before, is the reason the author has for writing. Okay? Is why the author wrote that book, why the author wrote the article or the passage. Okay? So in here says that maybe the author writes for persuade, inform, entertain, or to express feelings. Okay? We have 4 possible reasons why someone writes. So right now we are going to read the passage and we are going to answer this together. So let's read it. Dirty beaches are disgusting. I hate to see the shore of a lake or ocean dotted with candy wrappers, soda bottles, or other bits of garbage. Garbage on beaches is more than an eyesore. It also kills wildlife. Animals such as fish and turtles may eat drifting garbage they find in the water. Have you seen that? When you throw garbage into oceans or rivers, then turtles get tangled inside those and they can die. So it says if they do, they may choke, or they may die. The plastic six-pack jugs from soda cans are dangerous to birds. Birds often become tangled in the plastic and die. To help keep beaches clean, you can volunteer or clean up days on cleanup days. People who clean beaches help protect the environment and are definitely doing the right thing. Okay, what was the reading about? Dirty beaches and the consequences, the results of the garbage that is on the ocean. So let's fill in the diagram below based on the passage. It says number 1, detail. Dirty beaches are how? Beautiful or what? Look, dirty beaches are disgusting. So let's write it. Dirty beaches are disgusting. Number 2, this is a detail, okay? A piece of information. Number 2, if animals eat drifting garbage, what is going to happen? Looking here. Fish and turtles may eat drifting garbage they find in the water. If they do, they may choke. They may choke. Okay, if animals eat drifting garbage, they may choke. Number 3, birds can become tangled. Okay, it says birds often become tangled in the plastic, and what is going to happen if they become tangled? Die. Okay, and die. So here we have 3 details. The author of this article is telling you that dirty beaches are disgusting, that if animals eat drifting garbage, they may choke, and also if birds can become tangled, they can die. So what do you think the author's purpose is? What do you think the writer of this passage is trying to do? So this part of number 4, it's something that you have to do. I already helped you with number 1, with number 2, and with number 3. You are going to tell me which one is the author purpose. Do you think the author purpose is to express feelings? To entertain you? Let me ask you something. The author says how he feels about the beaches. He said, I feel bad, I feel angry, I feel happy. No, right? So this one is not to express feelings, to entertain. Did you have fun reading this passage? No, right? It was not a fairy tale, it's not a comic or a cartoon, so it's not for entertain. So it was to persuade. Remember that to persuade is to convince you to do something. Was the writer in here, the author, trying to convince you to do something? I want you to read this. Look, it says, to help keep beaches clean, you can volunteer on cleanup days. Here, the author is inviting you to do something. The author is inviting you to go in your free days as a volunteer and to clean up the beaches. First, he presented to you the problem and the consequences, and then he is inviting you to do something. So, for sure, the author's purpose is to persuade. Okay, because he's trying to persuade you to go and clean the beaches. To inform, it can be also to inform because the author was telling you what happens with the garbage, the consequences of the garbage, but at the end, what he's trying to do is to persuade you to do something. Okay? So don't do number 5, just number 4. Okay? And now, guys, I already helped you with this, just that you have to write it. That is the only thing you have to do. Now, guys, this is the homework sheet in your homework sheet. This one that I have here. Look at this. Guys, please check carefully your homework. I will not be saying it's missing this, it's missing the audio, it's missing the worksheet. You have the classes and you have number 1, number 2, number 3. What do you have to do? Okay, what do you have to do for each class? So for today, you have to send me the pictures of your learning destinations, and also you have to send me this worksheet that I'm going to send to your parents, okay? With this worksheet, what you are going to do is, looking here. Here you have a reading. You have to read this, and you have to tell me here is if the writer wanted to persuade you, to inform, or to entertain. So you are going to write it in here. Then you read here, and you write in here, and so on, okay? And now, guys, this is the homework that you have for this class. And also, I have in here, in page 151, personal narrative. What is a personal narrative? Let's see the key features of personal narrative. It says uses the first person point of view, I or me. That is the first person. What is the first person point of view? Is when someone is narrating an event that happened to that person, to the same person. That is the first person of a point of view. Or someone is narrating what happened to other person, but as if it was to the one that is talking. Okay? So, number 2 says, tells a story about a real event in your life. Okay? For example, when you are talking about what happened in your last birthday party, you are not going to say, if Jared is talking, for example, Jared is not going to say, this happened to Jared in his birthday. In that way, you are not using the first person of view. Jared is going to say, this happened to me. I was in my birthday party, and so on. That is the first point, a person's point of view. When the person tells what happened to that person. And number 3 says, shares thoughts and feelings about an event or time. How did you feel with that experience? So here, guys, I'm not going to read for you. You are going to read it, mom or me. You are going to read this passage, and then you are going to answer number 1 and number 2. And that is all for you and for today.